compelling stories are not hard to find. You just need to know where to look. Join your host, Dr. Eric Shaw, prosecutor Ryan Frank, writer Adrian Bonenberger, and comedian Ryan Connor as they interview ordinary people about their extraordinary experiences. This is Baggage.
Hi, and welcome to Baggage. Tonight, you've just got me and Ryan Frank, and with us as our guest is Charlee Minkin. She is the owner of the Sanctuary Dojo in Littleton, Colorado. She is also a judo national champion and Olympian, and now a guest on our show. So, Charlee, can you please walk us through some of your many awards and accolades?
Yes, I would love to. I'm a 2004 Olympian. I'm a two-time world team member. I'm a Pan American Games silver medalist, Pan American Champions gold medalist, multiple team national champion.
How old were you when you got into martial arts?
I was 4 years old when I started.
Wow.
I'm the youngest of four. I'm from a single mom. Our dad died when I was 5, and so my mom raised us 4 kids by herself, and I was the youngest out of 4 kids. And I was the last one to start. I was on the mat, the side of the mat at 3 years old, like trying to get on the mat, wanting to, because all my brother and my sisters all were training. And by the time I was 4 or 5-ish, they allowed me to get on the mat and train. So 4 or 5 is when I actually started training.
Now, my daughter did gymnastics, and when we were around, she started around like 3 or so, and around 6 they started to tell us, like, if your kid is going to be in college sports or Olympics, like, now is the time you have to make that decision, which we were like appalled. But yeah. Is martial arts similar, or is that something, when did you make that decision of like, this is it, this is what I want to do?
I was, we grew up in a dojo in California. I grew up in California in San Francisco. And I grew up in a place where our coach, the owner, Willie Cahill, was the 84 and 88 Olympic team coach. So as a 5-year-old, we had the whole team coming in and training judo with us here and there. So they would come in, for different training camps and would train. And when they would come in, they would work with the kids. And so as a little 5-year-old, I was having all the Olympians come and throw me around at 5 years old. And so at that point, it became a dream for me to make the Olympic team. Maybe because I was exposed to it, I would say that like is the end result, or this could be like what my goal is. It started when I was like probably 4 years old, but only because, like I said, I was exposed to it. It wasn't just like, this is like an idea, like I saw many Olympians coming in. We were a very established dojo in California. So we had a lot of Olympians coming in and out really at all different times. And then again, like we had those teams coming in and out nonstop.
So at a young age, you see these Olympians coming through there and you're like, that's something I want. And I have the sense of, if a kid is really into something, there's a lot of push from the parents to keep it going. Did you feel any of that from your mom? Like a push like to go when you didn't want to? Or was it pretty consistent that like a little bit of a drive in you of something you felt like compelled you had to do?
Oh, I mean, it was both. So yes and yes, So yes, it was both. I mean, there wasn't a choice. It was a way of life for us. My mom, this is what we did every 3 days a week, whatever it may be. Like when we had practice, we were going there, whether we were sick, whether we were, like didn't want to go. There was no choice on our part. It was, this is what we're doing. We thrived because of it, and it's like, honestly, it's something that I struggle with our gym, with parents signing up their kids, is they say, oh, well, my kids, in the beginning, they're excited about it. They want to do it. And then 2 months in, they don't want to do it. They lose interest, right? And it's a fight for them to bring their kids to the gym. And then they're like, I don't want to fight with them. And my response is always, you fight with your kids to brush their teeth at night, right? You fight with your kids to eat healthy. Yes. So why is this any different? Jiu-jitsu, judo, a martial art is not the same thing as like soccer and baseball. It's not a hobby. It is a skill that they will use for the rest of their life. And it's up to you as a parent, whether you decide that that skill is important for your kid to learn and be a part of their character. And that's the thing. It's not something that's a hobby. This, like, getting the shit beat out of you and beating the shit out of someone else is the hardest thing that anyone is ever going to do in their entire life. And you're doing that and you're paying for it, right? So it's like, you know, so that's going to be the hardest thing that these kids ever have experienced, right?
It's character building.
Exactly. It builds their character. And then you put on competition on top of that, and they have to deal with their butterflies and their adrenaline and the adrenaline dump and like everything else. And like, someone trying to kill them, you know what I mean? And it's like the most realistic thing you can get to actually someone trying to kill you, right? Other than them fighting in war, you know what I mean? So it's like, this is the hardest thing they're ever going to do. And I always have to make sure that I iterate to parents, like, this is not a hobby. This is a skill that they're building. And if you want them to be good at this skill, you will keep pushing them in this sport. And, you know, what's hard is this sport takes at least a year for them to make any type of connections, brain and body connections. So it's not something that's going to come within 2 to 3 weeks. Like, we see kids all the time that come in and they're like super stoked about it. And they're like, yay, I'm going to do it. You know, I'm going to train. I'm going to fight everyone. Then they get the shit beat out of them. And then they're like, I hate this sport and this is hard. And then there's also the discipline aspect of it, of like, they can't be talking. They have to like respect their partners. They have to respect us as teachers. They have to respect their parents. And they realize this sucks, you know? And then we have to like, and you know, we tell the parents, they have to come out of that lull and keep going up and down. It's a roller coaster. And if you care about this as a character building sport, then you will keep them in it. Otherwise, they shouldn't be in it.
As a quick aside, but we took our daughter to a dojo here in Arvada, and I can't even really call it karate, but I would call it child indoctrination, and it was wonderful. They were doing all their little forms, and they weren't even like correcting forms at all, but they were like, respect your parents, listen to your dad, do your chores. And it was just like, yes, this is fantastic. I don't care if you're learning karate or not. Just the whole aspect of like discipline and respect.
Yeah.
And so I really love that about the martial arts community there.
I'm not going to lie. I'm sitting here thinking I'm going to make another push for my kid to do martial arts. We tried karate, and it was years ago, and it really had nothing to do with karate. It was just that setting an environment, he was very uncomfortable and had a really, really adverse response where I was like, I don't know if this is healthy for us to do this. He never even got exposed to any of that. So maybe we'll make another try at it. Yeah.
There's the saying in jiu-jitsu. Well, there's 2 sayings. So one of them, and we put these on the first time we opened up our gym, I heard one of the guys say this. He's from Brazil, and I loved it. And then we put it on shirts, and then none of the kids could wear them. But it said, "When you're in hell, give the devil a hug." We put those on kids' shirts, and then they weren't allowed to wear them. But it's like also it shows like what it is like. It's being comfortable in the uncomfortable, right? And that's what life is about, right? Is thriving in that uncomfortability. That's what makes you better. And so that's what grappling, it doesn't matter. Like, I don't care whether it's wrestling, judo, jiu-jitsu. I think taekwondo is not really, taekwondo is such a business thing. So it's such a business model. It's really not like anything that's really related to grappling. But when you fight someone that's trying to fucking kill you and trying to choke you out and armbar you and break your arm, you have to be in the moment, right? You have to be there. You have to be present. And you are either going to thrive or you're not. And when you don't thrive, you will learn how to thrive, right? That's the growth, right? That's the development of it. That's the beauty in the grappling sport. And it's the most important thing to learn growing up and building your character. Like, I don't really, honestly, I have 2 kids, and I don't give a shit if they compete or not. but we have them compete every time. What I care about is they're always going to do jiu-jitsu until they're 18.
The videos she posts of her son are awesome. And I've seen ones where like I think he was probably like 6 or 7, and he's just manhandling these other kids, just like throwing them over his shoulder, and he just stands up like he's the man. Like, it's awesome.
He does. He's a very good competitor. My daughter, it took a while for her to get into the competition mode. They're very completely two different humans and two different perspectives of their life and different personalities. But all I care about is that they both work hard and they try hard. And that's always what I've told them. As long, I don't allow my kids to have soda that often. So I'm like, you can have a Coca-Cola as long as you fight hard, And so that's what I give them, as like, that's what they get. But they both work their ass off. And that's important. And they're learning how to defend themselves. If my daughter gets attacked, she's going to know how to defend herself.
Speaking of kids fighting, one of the pictures you sent me before it looks like you had probably like 10 years old in front of a wall of trophies. And these are like not the like little trophies like you and I got, Ryan, like the little tiny participation baseball thing.
Yeah, right.
These are like the ones you dreamt of. They're like 5 and 6 foot high trophies. How old were you in that picture?
I think I was around that age. Like you said, I was like either 10 to 12 years old. I don't have, because I moved, I'm from California and I moved so many times. I lost a lot of stuff. I didn't like, so a lot of my pictures are somewhere with my sister or my brother and my mom. But, so yeah, I was like 10 to 12 years old, and we had so many, my mom had us compete every weekend. Every weekend we were competing. We were driving all around California, competing in like the, Sacramento Open, whatever, like every open there was. And, so we had so many trophies, and we had so many medals that we didn't know what to do with them. And at that age, I wish, looking back, I wish things were different. But at that age, I didn't give a shit about any of my medals, because all I cared about at that moment was making the Olympic team. It wasn't about medals. It wasn't about trophies. It was about making the Olympic team. So
is 10 around the age when you decided like this was happening? I'm going to make this push.
I feel like I thought of it when I was like 5 years old.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. So like so when I had all these medals, I sold we had a garage sale and I sold all of them. like all the all the ones I had up until that point, like all the trophies, all the medals, I sold them all at a garage sale. So I don't have any of them. I only have like the various medals from recently from my, from living at the Olympic Training Center.
What was that final push look like? The year or so that you thought you were going to go to, or you're trying to get into the Olympics. What does that look like as far as like your training regimen and then those last competitions? Like, how does one qualify for judo in the Olympics?
So it's different now. I'm old. And so back then when I was competing, it was women had to be top 3 within the Pan American Union to qualify the division. So it's not qualifying yourself, it's qualifying the weight class. And men had to be top 5. So within the Pan American Union. Now I believe it's like 20, you have to rank 25th in the world. There's different rankings now. But back then when I was competing, it's like I said, women had to be top 3, men had to be top 5. And so we had to go to all these different competitions that had that carried these points that we could get, right, to rank ourselves. So, and then even with that, I had to fight in Olympic trials. So I could qualify my division, my weight class, but then I had to compete in Olympic trials, and I had to win Olympic trials for myself to go to the Olympics, even after that.
Man, how stressful is that?
Very stressful. Every competition.
So how old are you when that's happening? When you're doing those trials?
I was 23 when I competed in Olympics. So I should say this. I was an alternate to the Olympic team in 2000. So when I moved from California to Colorado, to the Olympic Training Center, I was an alternate to the Olympic team. And then in 2000, that's in 2000. In 2004, I made the Olympic team. And mind you, in judo, no one sends, there's only one person per weight class. And again, you have to qualify that weight class in however you need to qualify depending on the rules at the time for that weight class to even go. So when I moved to Colorado in 1999, I was the alternate, and I was just like kind of like more of a punching bag because I wasn't going. It was in Australia. That was the Australian Olympics.
For the 2000 Olympics in 99, are you still going through the qualifiers, or is that you don't have to go through all of that if you're an alternate? You still have to go through all that stuff, right?
So the 2000 Olympics, there was no Olympic trials, I believe. I don't believe there was Olympic trials, but I was like, it was just how you ended up at that point. It was rankings. Okay. So I was number 2. So I was an alternate to the Olympics. However, they only bring the Olympians, you know what I mean? They don't bring any of the alternates. In 2004, I made the Olympic team, and they brought like some other alternates for training partners.
So that's like, man, you're involved. Like am I 17, 18? You're right that you're an alternate?
I was, yes, I was 17 when I moved to Olympic Training Center. Yep. I was 17 when I moved away. Yep.
So so your entire life, you're thinking Olympian, I got to be Olympian. And then now you got you've already been an alternate. Now you get the qualifiers. And if you don't qualify, what did you think was going to happen if you didn't qualify? Did that enter your mind?
Of course it enters your mind as an athlete, but it's not something that you focus on. As an athlete, you can't focus on the what ifs. It's, I'm going to do it. I will do it. There's no question as to, you can't let doubt enter your head when you're training in that type of intensity and that type of life. It's, this is mine and I will do it.
What did your training regimen look like on a regular basis?
When I moved to the Olympic Training Center,
sure.
Or when I was growing up. When I moved to the Olympic Training Center, I was 17. I graduated high school and moved right to the Olympic Training Center. And it was training every morning. We would wake up and train at 7 a.m. And whether it was strength and conditioning or cardio, like running, cardio or something like that, or doing technique on the mats. And then every night we would do a 2-hour practice. And then in the daytime, I was still trying to go to college. So, I was trying to go to college at the same time as making the Olympic team.
Jesus.
So I had to take a year and a half off from college. I graduated, I competed in the Olympics in 2004, and I didn't graduate from college until 2006 because I couldn't do both. Some of my professors, like I talked to them, and they were, a lot of them were cool with it, and others failed me because I was gone. I told them, like, I'm not going to be here. Like, I was gone for Europe for 6 weeks at a time, training from country to country. And I was like, I can't be here. And some of them, it just didn't go well. So it was like a battle with that, with like the professors in college. So when it became too much for me, I had to stop doing that. And then I took a year and a half off of college, ended up graduating in 2006 or 7, I think, from college when I got back. Yeah.
So you're going to the Olympic Training Center at 17. How did that upend your social life, or was your social life basically judo anyway? Like, how did that affect your social life?
I mean, it was like crazy. I mean, I don't know any different, but I hear from people that had like a regular college experience, like how college was like the best years of their life and all that stuff. Like, that wasn't any of us, right? Like, the Olympic Training Center, you have to think, is like an island all by itself. It's a bunch of athletes. Like, we all are super intense, right? Party super hard as we train. We train hard. We party hard. Like, it's like the highest end. Like, everything is like to the top of the intensity. So it completely changed. Like, it wasn't anything normal for me. I mean, I never really lived a normal life anyway. So when I went to the Olympic Training Center, it was just more of like, this is what we're doing. My whole life always was about judo and about making the Olympic team. And then when I moved to the training center, it just kind of made it easier to just focus on that. It was harder to focus on anything else, like school and a job and what have you, because the only focus that anyone ever cared about was your sport, including the physical therapists, the doctors. I mean, I got I tore my meniscus in a training camp in Hungary, and I didn't have health insurance. And my surgeon, when I got back, he was an amazing human, but I didn't have any health insurance. And he was like, I'm going to do your surgery for free so you can get back on the mat. And so he did my surgery for free so I could get back on the mat and compete 3 weeks later.
Wow.
So it's, yeah.
I tore a meniscus one time. I wasn't doing anything 3 weeks later. Holy cow.
Yeah.
No.
So those are the things that you deal with, right? Like as an athlete, you put everything aside, because as an athlete, when you're looking at making an Olympic team, there's no life after the Olympics. That is it. So it doesn't matter what you do to yourself. Like everything that you do is for making that team, and you will do whatever it takes to make that team, no matter what.
So you made it to the Olympics. You're in Athens. Tell us about your Olympic experience.
I mean, it was an amazing experience. It was, being there when where it started was incredible. Everything was incredible. I wish I could have done better. I lost the first match by essentially a penalty, and so I didn't get carried on. I lost the first match, and then the girl that I lost to from Germany lost the next match to the Olympic champion from China. So I was out and she was out. And so it was a little bit devastating in that sense that there was not any more experience with fighting in that sense. And my body was so messed up at that point. Like I basically was trying to just keep myself together to compete. And when that happened, I was like, I'm done. And my coach was like, no, you are going to medal. Like this is just to get your feet wet. 2004 is just to get your feet wet. 2008 is where you're actually going to medal.
Is this one of those sports like football where you're just always a little bit injured? You're never really 100%.
Some people, I think it's just a matter of luck. Like that's what I've talked to many physical therapists that I'm really close with. And I've asked them about I've had 8 surgeries and I've been like, what is up? And he's like, it's a matter of luck. It's not a matter of this or that. It's a matter of genetics and luck, And so I see, I started jiu-jitsu super young when I was 17, and I wrote a paper on the Gracies in college when no one knew what Brazilian jiu-jitsu was, and then Ronda Rousey, who was on my team, my Olympic team, she made it so big in MMA and, made everyone, brought so much money to MMA because of her fighting in it. Right. And changed the whole sport. Right. And changed women's MMA, good for her. It's an amazing thing that she did. And I'm like, why? I would have loved to, I started jiu-jitsu way before anyone. I remember my coach, my judo coach, it made me like, what is this jiu-jitsu shit? No one knew what it was then, but I started it when I was really young and I loved it. And no one knew what it was. And I couldn't continue with anything after I competed in the Olympics because my body was so fucked up. It was just so fucked up. And so I just couldn't do it anymore. I was taping my knee. I was taping my ankle. In judo too, back then, there was no money for sports. We had to pay for everything. And mind you, my mom is a single mom. And so we had to pay for everything except for Olympics, Worlds, or Pan Ams. So everything came out of our pocket to pay for my traveling. I mean, I spent 6 weeks at a time in Europe. I would spend 3 or 4 weeks at a time in South America, going from country to country to compete. We were training and living in the worst conditions. And we continued to do that because that's what we had to do, And there was just no money in it. And so it was just out of just passion and love for the sport that we did it.
Man, you must go all out for Mother's Day. You and your siblings. That's crazy. That's crazy because it's not just you. It's not like she's got a single kid and she's going to put everything into that. She's got, your brothers and sister. How many siblings did you have? You said 3 siblings.
I'm the youngest of 4.
Or 2 sisters, 1 brother. Now, did they also follow judo as much as you, and are they still into it? What are their paths look like?
Yeah, my whole family, we're all judo black belts. My sister and my brother were all jiu-jitsu black belts from Half Gracie. They're from Half Gracie in California. My brother is incredible athlete, amazing. He wanted to come back and try to make the Olympic team. He didn't, but he's competed in jiu-jitsu and had many jiu-jitsu titles. My sister is the one who moved out with me to Colorado here, and she actually was ranked number one when she quit a year and a half before the Olympics, which devastated me.
Wow.
So it devastated me because she was my training partner. She was my everything. And so she was the source of all of my comfort in competing and training. And she quit, and it was really hard, And so she would have made the Olympic team, but she quit. She was so sick of the politics and the stress that came with the sport. She never competed ever again.
Wow. That's really interesting. I was thinking in the other direction of the competitiveness among siblings and the fights that maybe that started. But actually I wasn't thinking about the support, like the lack of support when one of the siblings decides, I'm parting ways, I'm not doing it anymore.
Yeah. It was horrible for me. I understood, I supported her journey, but we were so connected. And especially with the type of home that we grew up in, she was everything to me. So when she quit and left, it devastated me. Yeah. So.
Hey everybody, Ryan here. I'm with Susan Windishin, Senior Director of Operations for the Dear Jack Foundation, which is a charity that helps young adults between the ages of 18 and 39 deal with a cancer diagnosis and navigate that difficult process. And the Dear Jack Foundation has an interesting origin story. So Susan, can you tell us a little bit about that?
I'd love to. So we were founded by a musician. His name is Andrew McMahon. I always say musician and all-around great human. He'd probably be very embarrassed knowing I say that. But Andrew, he was the front man for the bands Jack's Mannequin, Something Corporate, and Andrew McMahon in the Wilderness. But Andrew had cancer in his early 20s, right as he was about to embark on a nationwide tour with one of his biggest albums called Everything in Transit. He got a stem cell transplant from his sister. He came through and is doing great. This is for him 20 years post-cancer this year. But he really realized in an era where cancer is a huge call to action health item, there's nothing out there for the young adult age range. So he started Dear Jack to bridge that gap and really support these young people in the unique way that they need help and psychosocial support.
An incredible story and a great charity. So if anyone's interested in supporting that cause, please visit the show notes or visit dearjackfoundation.org and donate now. Thank you, Susan.
Thank you.
So the Olympics are over. Your body is broken. I guess you made an interesting statement earlier, and I just want to kind of tie this in there. You talked about the kind of like adrenaline dump after a meet. Did you have kind of a life-sized adrenaline dump after all this? Like, tell us what happened kind of afterwards.
Oh, yeah, it was horrible. It was horrible. And this is something that I hope will change. I've seen some like rules legally maybe passing with that, with like giving Olympians support. But, we give, people that serve in the military support, right, after the war. But nothing's ever been acknowledged about Olympians. And especially in a sport like judo, where there's not much recognition. I mean, now there's more. But back then there was no recognition. People were always like, what is judo? What does that even mean? And so, there was like nothing. I like finished college. I spent, like I told you, it took me 6 years to finish because I took a year and a half off. And mind you, I mean, even my college experience was only like, my goal was doing judo. So I chose the easiest possible major that I could do while I was training, because that wasn't my goal. My goal was to make the Olympic team and to compete. And so, I chose communications, which is a general major. And it took me 6 years to graduate. And when I got done, I was like, what am I going to do with this? I really don't have any skills other than what I do on the mat. And at that point too, because my body was so messed up, and I mean, still is, but like, I was like, I don't want anything. I don't like, your whole identity is tied into your sport. Even growing up, everyone knew me as a judo girl. There was no like identity that I had of my own. It was what I did. And so when I graduated college, I was like, I don't want any part of this. I don't want to even date any athletes. I don't want any of this. I just want to do something else. You try that for a little bit and it just doesn't, it's like trying to figure out, it's like scrambling to try to figure out who you are, but you're 23 years old. So it's a lot later life, like versus like a 17-year-old maybe, or a 16-year-old when they graduate high school and they're trying to figure that out. You're 10 years older and you're like, what the heck am I doing? It's a very, very depressing and lonely state of mind, you know, that you're at, and no one can ever understand it unless they've been through it. You're like all alone, and all that you've done, all that your heart has been poured over and your soul has been into your sport, and then it's gone. And like, and like even at the Olympic Training Center, like when I had a huge surgery when I came back from the Olympics, and I felt like when I told my coach I was done competing, no one even cared to look at me. It was like I was nothing, you know? And before that, I was like a golden child, you know what I mean? Because I was Olympic team, you know? And so it was just like, you know, trying to scramble to figure out what your place is in the world. And I was still a child, you know, like really, you know what I mean? I was 23, but you know what I mean, you know?
So you had said your coach, you decided after the 2004 Olympics that you were done, and he was telling you, no, you're gonna medal in 2008. What exactly was it? Just done with the sport? Concern about your body long term? What was the thing that was like, I'm done, I'm over it, to make that huge shift?
Just with how bad my knee was, I needed knee replacement. I've had 3 knee surgeries. I have no lateral meniscus at all, and so I had to take, like we would go for weekends in training camps in Spain. And I would like try to tape my knee. And for back then we had no sports medicine trainer that would come with us because there was no money in judo. So we were always the ones that had to figure out how to tape ourselves and take care of ourselves when we would go train. But so I was like, taping my knee as best I could. But you can't do anything with meniscus. It's not like an ACL or, ligament or anything like that. So I was like trying to figure out how to keep my knee together as best as I could. I was getting rashes from like literally my hips all the way down to my ankle because I was taping my knee, and the sweat and the humidity just killed it. And I was just getting horrible rashes. And I just realized when I was I was good enough, like objectively, to look at myself, like I was really good, and I was good enough to medal, but I could never medal with how bad my knee was. I could never train as hard as I needed to train and actually be good enough to medal. And so when my coach was like, you need to stay in 2008, he actually called me from China from the 2008 Olympics. And he was like, all the girls that you were beating are medaling now. They're all, and I was like, it sucks, but I just knew I could not train and do what I needed to do to prepare myself to actually medal. And I didn't want to waste another 4 years of my life and just drain my body anymore to keep going just to say I made another Olympic team, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So I had to make that choice. And so everyone asks me like how amazing it was at the Olympics, but it's like this bittersweet thing. It was like amazing to have like made my dream come true. And yet it was so sad for me to know that this was a part of my life that was done. Right. And this was my life. So it was very hard, a hard pill to swallow in that sense, because I was like, I had no idea what I wanted to do. And I honestly, at that point, I didn't want to do anything that had even involved grappling or anything like that. I wanted something completely outside of it, but I had no skills. So it was a very scary moment in my life as well, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
sure. At 22, you recognize how young you are, and like, there's a lot of life to live.
Yeah.
And people maybe have a head start on you because they're doing other things.
Totally.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Given the opportunity, like, would you go back and do this all again? Because the where I come from with that is I know a guy that used to play for the Packers, and he is just a broken human being. He has what's the multiple concussion thing?
TBI?
No, like the next step when your brain is like just so messed up from so many concussions.
Eric, I'm not a doctor.
I don't treat patients like I don't treat people like that. But he had said like multiple surgeries and all this sort of stuff. And I've asked him, I was like, would you do it again? And he's like, 100% yes. Every time. He's like, I owe everything in my life to this. Like my success financially, my friends, my networking, all that stuff is based off of football. And I would do it again despite all the things that have happened to me.
Okay. 23, you make that choice to change. Do you regret it? Do you regret up until that point?
Yes and no. I mean, there's not like a definite answer. There's not, yes. I mean, here's what I have to say is I chose what I chose because that was the only choice for me, if that makes any sense. That was the only option I had to get away from what I was growing up in. It was my way out. And my sister and I talk about this all the time, that we think our kids are lazy and like don't want to push themselves. And we're both like, they have too easy of lives. We struggled so much as kids, and we didn't have a choice. Like judo was like our only way out. And so I feel like that's what made us be super good, right? That was like our answer. So would I do it again? I mean, the question is yeah, I mean, yes, because I don't know anything else. In a normal, I mean, what is normal? But what I think is a normal childhood experience, would I do that? Probably not. If you're asking me, do I want, like I'm friends with a ton of Olympians, I have a lot of connections with Olympians, and, seeing what they do with their kids and what I do with my kids. And do I have my kids doing that? And everyone asks, oh, do you want your kids to go to the Olympics? Like we own a gym, my kids train. Would I put them through the same path? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I don't want my kids to experience nearly anything that we experienced as kids.
Charlie, I want to step back a little bit to when you and I first met, when you brought your son Ari to me as a patient. I just feel like as the kids have gotten older, and maybe I'm just seeing more of the stuff on Facebook from them and you guys, like, I feel like that's taken a bigger role in your life. Can you talk more about kind of establishing yourself as now a judo instructor, and like, what does that look like to have your kids doing this in what I would describe as probably a more healthy environment than you did?
The gym is my life. So I always tell people, you're right. Like before I even had kids, my husband and I opened this gym, and that's like was my dream from the beginning. Of like, I had interviews back at the Olympics when they asked like what I want to do, and I said I'm going to open up a gym. And me and my brother had always said that we're going to open up a gym with each other. That didn't work out, and obviously my husband and I, open up a gym. And so our gym is a very family oriented gym. I mean, it's my life. It's like, I always say it's my kid before I had kids. It's like I put my heart and soul into my gym. I invest everything into my gym. And my husband and I have put every single penny we own into the gym. And the gym's not big. It's a tiny like studio essentially, but we literally invest everything we are into this place and into the people there. These people are our family. And so, yeah, I mean, I just put my heart and soul, like everything that I've learned. I mean, I've been doing this my entire life, judo, jiu-jitsu. I started jiu-jitsu when I was 17. I've been a black belt for 7 years now in jiu-jitsu, and, teaching judo, jiu-jitsu. My husband's been a black belt for over 20 years. Like our cumulative experience is we offer the best, literally the best, like literature like there is. And, I feel like our culture is very welcoming and open, and I trust people. If there's any bullshit or I feel like there's anything that's off, I send them away. Like, because there's drama in any place you go. So I try not to have drama in our gym at all. There's always a thing like in jiu-jitsu and like in what we do, it's like a revolving door, you know what I mean? Because it's such a hard sport. So, we get people that sign up, like 3 people sign up and 4 people quit because it's so hard. And it's something that's so hard to keep up with. So yes, like I think the people that are there value it and love us, and they love what our project is. And it's really hard to get more people. You know what I mean? It's like we're a struggling business because it's constant work. And this is not like, it's not like a Planet Fitness or 24-hour fitness where people are like, oh, like I'm going to, in the, January 1st, I'm going to sign up. It's like, this is like a niche, so it's like jiu-jitsu is a niche. Like who wants to like say, I want to get the shit beat out of me and beat the shit out of people and sign up? Like if they've never done it, like rarely. It has to be something you're thinking about and that you actually want to do. And it's a skill that you have to learn, right? It's just like kids. Like parents that sign their kids up are like, oh, I want my kid to do something hard. But then as soon as it becomes hard, they don't want their kid to do it when they start crying. So it's just
do
like
the same thing. Yeah.
I had a friend in med school that did MMA, and he came back from a tournament once with a broken nose, and he's in this like, beak thing, and has got the big black eyes and everything. And this is also right at the time like Fight Club came out, and we're like, dude, you can't go see patients like this. This isn't Fight Club. Like, you can't be a professional and do this. And he's like, I love it. He just couldn't get enough of it.
Totally. When I was pregnant and I was training still, I mean, I've trained after like all my surgeries and being pregnant. I trained up until the day I gave birth to both my babies.
Wow.
And like, there's something about, like, I was like, you miss the grind. If you've never been a grappler, you don't understand it. But like, you miss, like, I was just always telling people, I miss someone trying to beat the shit out of me and me trying to beat the shit out of someone. Like, there's no release like that. And like, we get a lot of people that have PTSD, and like, especially kids that have a lot of issues, and mental health issues. And this is like the thing that their actually therapists recommend the most is grappling, because
I recommend martial arts to all my anxious patients. And it goes into a lot of stuff we talked about at the beginning, the discipline, the self-improvement, all of it. There's just a big mental health aspect of it that's so important.
Yes, it's huge. It's huge. It's huge. There's nothing else. There's nothing else like that. And you can work out. I mean, I do CrossFit, I do all this other stuff, but there's nothing like someone trying to beat the shit out of you, because you have to be present in that moment. You can't let your mind go, like, think about what I need to get at the store. Like, what am I doing tomorrow? Blah, blah. Like, if you're thinking about that, you're going to get choked the shit out of, you know what I mean? And you're going to get armbarred, your arm is going to break, you know what I mean? So you have to be present and in the moment. And there's nothing that makes you that present except for grappling. So it's like, that's what I miss. I love, like, when I was trained, like I said, up to the day I had my babies, but no one obviously was like, strangling me, like when I was like 9 months pregnant. And I was just like, I can't handle this. I just need someone to try to beat the shit out of me so I can like be in my head. You know what I mean? So it's like something you definitely get addicted to. Do you know what I mean? Like, that release is something that you get addicted to. And the people that are avid, like, grapplers are the people that are always going to come back. But like, that's a thing. It takes a long time for those people to actually, for anyone to become an avid, like, grappler, to know and understand that release and need it. Once you're in it, you're never going to leave. But
one thing I like, and this ties in with a common theme we've had on the show, of now that you have the gym and you're passing this on to a new generation of people, and particularly your children, we talk about mature coping mechanisms for dealing with trauma. And at the top of the list is altruism. And this is one where, like, you are kind of turning the bad into the good here. And I really applaud that. I think that's awesome that you're doing this now.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I have an important question. Since you've been talking, I was thinking about, myself and my marriage, and how is it like being married to a man that's secure enough to know that his wife can beat the living crap out of him if you decide to do so?
My husband can beat the crap out of me.
Oh, no? Oh, okay. Okay.
He's not, I would never date someone that couldn't beat the shit out of me.
See, you know what? I was on Match.com, and that wasn't one of the questions. I didn't have that on there.
That should be a question. Can you
First
beat the
date,
shit
I
out
don't
of me?
grapple, and if this doesn't go well, it's not happening.
That's not super
my
PC.
husband, we met doing jiu-jitsu. And then I taught him judo. I taught him like everything he knows about judo. And he's taught me like jiu-jitsu, essentially, like everything. And so he's amazing in jiu-jitsu, and yeah, he can beat the shit out of me. And so many of our like, we don't train when we actually get into arguments, because it's not good. Like, we actually have been in therapy for like 10 plus years. And one of the times that we were in therapy, I was like telling the therapist how like my husband was like choking the shit out of me, and I couldn't. And I was like, I wasn't tapping, because I was like, fuck you, I'm not going to tap. Like, I've passed out many times, like, from being choked. And so like, I was like, I'm not going to tap. Like, fuck you, I'm not going to give you that tap. And like, he could see my lips turning blue. And like, you get like have you guys ever passed out? No. So like, there's like a feeling that's like this like, almost like this like euphoria before you get choked out. Like, I've been choked out numerous times in training. And so like, there's this almost like euphoric feeling, and then like your lips start tingling, and I was starting to feel that, so like when you've had it happen before, like when to tap, you know what I mean? And and he was like choking me, and I was like, fuck you, I'm not gonna tap. Like, I'm so pissed off at you. Like, and I wouldn't. And then he saw my lips starting to turn blue. And so he let go of it. And as soon as he let go of it, I was like, what the fuck? Why'd you let go of it? You know what I mean? Like, I was like so pissed that he let go of it. And I was like explaining this to our therapist. And our therapist was like, has to be the oddest session I've ever had.
I was going to say, her eyes must be like huge. Like, am I supposed to report this?
Yeah. Yeah. He was like, this is like, I don't have any idea what to do about this. So it's just like, because like when you're, like we train together all the time. And like I said, like I teach him judo. He's like always worked with me on jiu-jitsu, but like we beat the shit out of each other, and, but he knows, like he like brings it back in. But when he's like choked me out a few times, I've gotten super pissed off. So
I bet you guys have like really cheesy inside baseball jiu-jitsu versus judo comments about like which one's better. What it's got to be really like next level. Only you guys would get the jokes. You probably give each other a lot of shit about that. Yeah.
Yes, we used to. But now it's like, so jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu is actually like, I feel like now it's respecting judo so much more. It's because again, judo and jiu-jitsu came from the same place. Sorry, I tapped that thing again. But judo and jiu-jitsu came from the same place. So only sport really separated them. So judo is way more elevated on the feet. It's way more established on the feet, whereas jiu-jitsu is established on the ground. And so the match will always start on the feet, but then judo makes it because of the rules progress on the feet, whereas jiu-jitsu, because of the rules, only progresses on the ground.
Oh, interesting.
So yeah, but they both came they originated from the same place. And now people are realizing, like within the last, I would say, few years, the value of judo and in jiu-jitsu and vice versa. A lot of athletes in judo are like cross-training jiu-jitsu now, especially at the high level, because they're realizing the value of them both. So when I first met my husband, that's how him and I started dating. He was like, hey, can you teach me judo? And I was like, yeah, I'm not doing it for free. Help me out with like, give me privates for jiu-jitsu, Mm-hmm. So that's like how him and I started becoming close. So we started training each other essentially.
Classic love story.
Choking each other out. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, cool. This is Ryan Connor's next movie pitch here for like a rom-com that he could do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So with everything you've experienced, so people listening to this podcast, kids, adults, I think we've heard some of it already. What advice would you have for someone of what martial arts can do for them, regardless of their background? Like if you had a public service announcement as a judo, jiu-jitsu instructor, what would you say?
Oh my God. I think, honestly, I think Brazilian jiu-jitsu is for everyone. I think judo and wrestling eventually will be for the athletic person, right? Like everyone can start that, but it will weed out the unathletic people because everything in judo and wrestling has to be explosive and has to be like now, right? Whereas jiu-jitsu, it's one of those sports, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, that like it's for everyone. Like you can literally start off, you don't have to be athletic at all. And you start it, like we have people starting in their 60s, 50s, and 60s. And if they just are consistent, you will be good because it's like a chess game. It's like you'll go and you can relax. It's not as hard as your body. Like judo and wrestling are so hard on your body. You're taking falls, you're taking, you're throwing, the impact, the shock is so hard. Whereas jiu-jitsu, it's so much easier. You can find a style that works for you. And that's what you can thrive in. Like I've had 8 surgeries. I teach judo, but I can't train judo myself, but I can train jiu-jitsu because I can modify what I need to and still grapple. And you can't do that with judo or wrestling. So I would say Brazilian jiu-jitsu is something that no matter who you are, what your athletic, your circumference is, it doesn't matter. Like Brazilian jiu-jitsu can be for everyone.
Oh, interesting. I definitely have learned my knowledge of martial arts has increased by about 400% in the last hour. So thank you. And if you bring half the passion to your, I'm going to mess this up, dojo? Did I say that?
Yeah,
right?
no, dojo's right.
Yeah, okay. If you bring half the passion to to your dojo that you show and talking about it, it sounds like a pretty fun place to be.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate you guys interviewing me. This is awesome.
Yeah.
No, thank you so much for sharing. I think it takes a lot of courage to do that. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I'll talk about anything. I'm not shy at all.
Tell us about your dojo.
Yep. We're called the Sanctuary Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Fitness. We're located in Lakewood off of Hampton and Wadsworth. We do judo, jiu-jitsu. We do strength and conditioning as well for kids and adults. So all black belts teaching and regulating all the classes. And it's a great place to train and learn self-defense, as well as building self-confidence and self-esteem and learning discipline.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
I think that's so. Ryan's not here tonight, but I'm sure if he was here, he would want to plug his book, The Party. It's very timely. He's got a special out there. Go to ryanconnorcomedy.com. He's got a bunch of tour dates coming up in Midwest and East Coast. So check him out there.
I know. I'm bummed I didn't see him.
I know a lot of people are. He's the real. People don't come to talk to us. They don't come talk to us. They want to.
You're pretty awesome. You're pretty awesome.
Really, but he's not. Well, I don't need that. But he's not. If you meet him, he's not. It's a bit of a letdown. To be honest with you, it's a bit of a letdown.
It's all hype.
We've known him for like 20 years. He's not all that. He's all right though. He's nice enough. I'm gonna leave all that in. Also, if you like the podcast, you want to support the podcast, go to thebaggagepodcast.com/support or subscribe through Apple Podcast. Percentage of all proceeds go to charity. And I think that's all I got. Eric, you got anything?
No, that's all I got.
Nope, never do. Okay.
There's
Thanks,
no shot. It's not flu shot season yet, and God only knows what's going to happen with COVID shots. So
yes, vaccines are still good. I don't know. I didn't check the news this week.
They're not good anymore. Remember, they're not good.
No. All right. I think I read that. Anyway, everybody check out Newsmax, and we'll see you next time. Music for Baggage provided by Quincy Ledbetter. You can find his stuff at qledbetter.com. Graphics provided by Megan Weaver. You can find her at meganweaverart.com. Special thanks to our premium members for their support. You can become a premium member by clicking subscribe in your Apple Podcast app or by visiting thebaggagepodcast.com/support to sign up or to gift a membership to someone. A percentage of all proceeds go to charity. If you have any questions, comments, or a good story to share, please email us at thebaggagepodcast@gmail.com.